Growing up with a growing understanding speech pathology. Conversations about children's development that will support you through your parenting journey.
Hi, I'm Lauren from A Growing Understanding, and welcome to the Growing Up podcast. This is where we have real and practical conversations about children's communication and feeding development, helping parents to feel supported, informed, and empowered. Each episode, I'll sit down with one of our amazing team members to share insights, answer some common questions, and give you some useful strategies that you can take into everyday life. So whether you're wondering if your child may need some support or looking for some tips to help their progress, or perhaps you might like to better understand their journey, this podcast is here to help. If this sounds like it may be helpful, make sure to follow along and let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of Growing Up with a Growing Understanding. Today I'm really excited to be joined by Nadine Delaney, who is the owner of Hunter Valley Children's Therapy. Welcome, Nadine. Lovely to have you with us.
Yeah, it's a bit exciting, this little collaboration that we've got coming up.
Yeah, I'm really excited by this collaboration. Maybe if we can start by sharing how it came to be, because we've worked alongside each other. We've known of each other since we both started in business at around similar times. Yeah. But only recently, my children attended some of your programs up at your farm. Is that what you call it? Your centre, your farm, your base?
Yeah, I do call it a farm, but I feel like that's not quite accurate because people might come expecting cows and chickens and other things, but we do call it the farm. But yes, no, there's no cows. There are lots of animals, but yes, we do call it the farm. There's 30 acres of awesomeness, so I feel like that classifies as a farm.
Yeah. And so my children attended some of your programs, and then afterwards I got the cogs turning for me, starting to think about how fantastic it would be to involve speech pathology alongside some of the animal assisted therapy and the social work and the counselling that you do there. And that's how we started to have this conversation about a potential collaboration. So to give people who are listening a bit of a sense, they may or may not be familiar with your service. Can you tell us about, who are you and who is Hunter Valley Children's Therapy?
Yeah, no worries. So I'm a social worker by trade, mental health social worker, to be specific. And I've been a social worker for a long time. I kind of spent a bit of time in out-of-home care and child protection. And then about maybe 12 years ago, I discovered this cool thing called Equine Assisted Psychotherapy and thought, oh, that sounds like me helping people and working alongside horses. So I certified in that and opened Hunter Valley Children's Therapies with the idea and intention of supporting children to connect with animals and to be out in nature, basically, because that's what feels good for me, and I want to kind of share that. So fast forward 10 years, and here we are at Sawyer's Gully with several other practitioners. We have an art therapist here as well, and a couple of other mental health practitioners. And we have a 30-acre property where we get to share nature and outdoors and animals with our clients. And we have a kind of range of different services. So we do work with adults as well, probably a more specific cohort. We're not sort of in the space of complex mental health for adults, but certainly neurodiversity is our passion here, and lots of the kids and the adults that come offer neurodivergent. So that's probably something I wanted to express to those folk looking for those sorts of services. We also support people with kids with mental health challenges. We support lots of kids in out-of-home care and those who have experienced trauma, support victims of crime through Victim Services New South Wales. And so we run group programs in the school holidays, but during the school term we have individual support sessions. So our collaboration will be a school holiday group program which will run over 2 days.
Yeah, exciting. We've decided to call this particular program, hopefully this opens up the window and the door to more collaborations, but this particular program that we've started with is called Trail Talk. Because it combines, what you've just described as well as the speech pathology component. I guess in terms of, how we would describe this program, I guess it touches on some of the elements that you were talking about there, but I think we're really looking at children from 8 to 12 years of age, so that preteen, tween kind of age. We're looking at, supporting children using a combination of approaches, so speech pathology, equine therapy or animal assisted therapy, because you haven't just got horses up in your centre, social work counselling. So from a speech pathology perspective, in terms of what we're hoping the children will be able to get from this is to support their communication and social interaction, that self-expression, and I think that that's where there's a really incredible opportunity to bring that out in this setting, and also some self-advocacy, in that space as well. What do you think Trail Talk is going to bring to, what's it going to bring from your side in terms of, your space, your centre, and the services that you offer there?
All of the things you've just mentioned are certainly aspects that I see as great opportunities in group settings for kids to be able to come together with other like-minded children. And I think the opportunity to work alongside animals is a great segue for developing communication skills, because there's lots of opportunity to develop awareness of self, like what are my needs and what supports do I need in this moment, and then how do I communicate that to other might be a practitioner, but it also might be an animal. How do I let them know what I need, and how do I know what their needs are? How do I know that where the cat or the horse likes to be patted or scratched, and how do I feel about participating in that? So it's like developing skills for relationships around like open and honest communication with each other, and also reciprocity in that setting as well. So the animals are great because, particularly horses, because they're really clear about their communication. And humans can be a little bit confusing, but horses, once we learn how to read their body language, they're really clear about what they like and don't like. And not only does that provide an opportunity for the participants to kind of experience that, but they also then get to kind of understand that asking for their own needs to be met and meeting others can be really helpful, and then that way they feel heard, and that's really important.
Yeah, so important. And I think in that speech pathology piece, it also takes the pressure off when they're when they're communicating with animals or having somebody beside them, communicating in that that trio, that triangle to some extent too, where, as you said, they're talking about what the animal's needs are, and the pressure is off of themselves, talking with peers or talking with another adult. So I think that in terms of that relationship and that strength-based support, and it's using interest too, so it's that interest-based learning and finding something that's really aligned to their strengths, their interests, to be able to support their skills and the areas of needs that they're targeting and wanting to focus on.
Yeah. And the other opportunity, I think, with being out in nature, there's so many different activities that we can create organically for some more of those relationship building skills around working as a team. So if I think back to some of our groups that we've run, say in winter when we all need to collect firewood, for example, there's so much opportunity in those sort of activities where we're moving our bodies, so we're regulating, we're kind of walking alongside each other so it's not too confronting. We're gathering firewood together. We're negotiating. We're talking about what we need to do. We're compromising on who gets the biggest marshmallow stick. Like there's all of these opportunities organically to kind of explore those communication skills so that kids can, find a peer that they enjoy spending time with and practice those skills in a way that's meaningful for them.
Yeah. Are you able to describe for someone who hasn't been out to Hunter Valley Children's Therapy, and what a rough outline of a day might look like? And I'm already, I'm very careful with describing that because, as you just sort of said, it really does depend on the group. It depends on who's there. It depends on the day and what happens. But are you able to provide a bit of a rough outline of, what the day might look like, or what the experiences might be as part of the Trail Talk program?
Sure. Yeah. So we're aware that for some kids, coming to a place that's new can be really hard and confronting and challenging. There's like transitions and newness and unpredictability. We do actually have on our website a little intro video that gives people a bit of a tour of the farm and some of the practitioners and some of the animals to kind of help them get a visual understanding of what they're going to be coming to before they get here. But essentially, we will start with a very casual arriving type activity. So they'll come in and put their bags down, and we have a very casual kind of intros part. We're not too attached to the idea of everyone having to talk as well. There's lots of invitations for passing if that's too hard, and we'll have things like fidgets out and stuff like that so kids can play to help them settle into the session. We're really aware that children need to know what's ahead. Predictability is important. And so we'll give them like a visual and a verbal rundown of the structure of the day. So it usually involves a session with the horses in the morning, particularly in summer when it gets really hot. If we're outside for too long, that's kind of out in the sun for too long, that can be really tricky for horses and humans. So we'll do a session with the horses first, and then there'll be some morning tea, and then usually a nature-based play activity in the middle of the day, then lunch, and then an art-based activity that's under the cover to kind of wrap up and consolidate for the afternoon. We are outside all of the time. There are some undercover areas for weather, hot and cold, but yes, very much a nature-based setting, which I think helps the mood and the atmosphere to feel more casual. So I think that helps people, clients, participants transition into the session. It feels a bit more homely. Yeah, that seems to work. And there's lots of different spaces. So we have space for people to kind of move within the group and also to find some quiet space outside the group if they need to do that as well. It's very flexible.
And I think that's what's a really big shift for particularly our families who may be used to coming into a clinic-based environment, is that it is such a flexible space. And I think that's where I think people who are used to turning up to a clinic and, walking through doors, it is very open, and it is very welcoming because, but it can just sometimes feel a little bit unusual, like, and where are we now? Or what are the expectations around this? So I think, that was probably the big thing for me when we first arrived was, it's a really warm and welcome. It's like you're joining like for us, it was sitting around a campfire as that welcome. And I was like, it's just like we've, arrived at a party, but in a very soft and welcoming kind of a way. So, I think that having that rhythm or the routine, like we spoke about that before we started recording today, is having a rough idea of what the day is going to look like, but it's very flexible depending upon, the conditions, the children, and how the day unfolds.
Absolutely. Yep.
You mentioned in your introduction about it being neurodiversity affirming and being strengths based in your approach, because you do have a number of neurodivergent children and families that access your services. We're very much the same, that, everyone is welcome as they are.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways that you support that neurodiversity affirming and strength-based practice? And what does that look like in the services that are being provided, and what will it look like as part of Trail Talk?
Yeah, I think the devil's in the detail, and it's little things like being aware of the need for predictability. So some of the children who come really need to know, what are we having for morning tea? When will lunch be? And so we're really sensitive to those things, and maybe we need to remind everyone, 10 times a day, and that's totally okay because that's important. I guess on a sensory friendly front, being outside is usually relaxing for the sensory system for most people. Not everyone, it's not everyone's jam, but for most people that is helpful. We do little things like making sure there's different types of soap in the bathroom, 3-4 different types of sun cream, like to help with sensory sensitivities around that. We are aware that for some people, coming to a group program when there's sort of 10, 12 kids can be really noisy. So we'll have things like noise cancelling headphones available, quiet spaces. We've got a lovely little room that's just adjoins where we usually spend time with the horses. And, it's full of recliners and couches, and they can paint on the walls or play instruments or just kick back on a couch with a cat and chill out. So we are also often kind of share our own neurodiversity and what helps us to kind of normalize that and encourage everyone to take care of themselves. I guess our approach when it comes to neurodiversity affirming practices is really around self-care. Like, what are your needs and what do you need to be able to meet those? And all of that's okay. Whatever that looks like, just kind of, let us know and we'll figure that out. I guess on an executive function front, we will always reiterate to participants that everything we offer is an invitation, and sessions and activities can be adapted to help manage any of those kind of executive function challenges. So we also avoid reading and writing at all costs. We don't want it to feel like school, and we don't want people to be embarrassed if that's an issue for them. So it might be visual cues that are pictures if we have to provide some instructions. There might be adjustments to activities to help kids who need like instructions broken down, give visual kind of demonstrations, those sorts of things. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it definitely does, because I think, as you said, I think that there's a lot of conversations out there about being neurodiversity affirming and being strengths based, but I think you're right that it is in the detail, and it's about the language and how you approach things, and every situation, it comes across, as you said, from the soap in the bathroom to being able to have that invitation to participate, and that they have the autonomy and choice to be able to opt in and out of activities. So I think it is in the detail, but it is really, and that's what we're really excited about in terms of this collaboration, is being able to take some of the skills that we've been working on within the clinic or within individual services to be able to extend that into other settings that are interest-based, and also with other peers who have a range of, differences, but there may also be some, similarities that will help them to be able to, go beyond joining in, but really looking at those relationship building activities. So in a very strengths-based, interest-based way.
Absolutely.
So for families who are on both of our radars, and they're starting to hear about Trail Talk as a program, who do you think that this might be good for? Who should be considering participating in this as a holiday program for their children?
Kids who love animals and being outside, definitely. And I guess for those parents who might be wondering about, does my child need to have experience with horses? Absolutely not. All the horses here have been assessed and are very experienced at working with a range of different people, especially children. So they're very safe and they enjoy that. Being outside, kids who love to be outside, who kind of want to move, it's really helpful for that. And I guess just kids who want to connect with other children, but not in a way where they might feel like they have to kind of get involved with everything. It might just be that they find one person that they want to hang out with, and that's totally cool.
And I think some of the things that we've been talking to families about, this is an opportunity to potentially, build friendships, or it might be to handle or to assist them with managing more difficult social situations, or things that are challenging them more broadly. As I said, extending beyond that clinic-based environment, it's really starting to get them to think outside of the square, or to be able to experience things that might be a little bit more challenging in a really safe and supportive way. Potentially helping them to express feelings, and that self-advocacy piece as well, which we hope will then be able to extend into other situations and other environments as well. I'm excited. I'm really excited for the opportunity to collaborate and to be able to support some of these children to be able to develop their skills in this environment, and to be able to learn. I think we were talking about that when we initially were discussing this collaboration, is just to be able to see other professionals working and operating to be able to support each other's work, I think is really exciting.
Yeah, that's definitely on our list of highlights. Yeah.
Fabulous. Thanks so much for sharing. Thank you again for the opportunity to collaborate, and we're really looking forward to meeting some families and giving them the opportunity on the farm or at Hunter Valley Children's Therapy, and that collaboration with A Growing Understanding and your service. So thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Growing Up with A Growing Understanding Speech Pathology. We love helping families navigate their parenting concerns and ensuring your child can grow and achieve. Please rate and review wherever you're listening so we can continue to grow together.